Come on in. Alrighty, here's an update. See, I have my sneakers on. I mean, my slippers on. See? Alright. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And we're back. Alrighty, what I thought I might do is just put mine. I'm going in for a micro infusion hydration. So I always do a skin check, just in case. Feeling better. Allergies are better. My migraines are better. Lots of rest. Lots of fluids. Um, I'm going from there. But I'm gonna take. I always check skin, making sure that everything is okay, and doing facials twice a month, etc., etc. It's just the way it is. You got to take care of yourself. Because if you take care of your body's going to take care of you, right? Okay. But anyway, what do I need these on? I just need those for reading. And that's about it. So I woke up, got my coffee. I thought that I would update you or update everybody that ever asks and is concerned. Right now, every day's a bonus. I wake up, take care of yourself. And your body will take care of you. So that's where I'm going with this. But I want to also go through take a few of your moments. I'm going to try to see if I can make this 15 minutes so I can put it on a couple of social media platforms. And this is just informational only, I think. I just woke up again, 3, 4 in the morning, and social media influencer to a point, but it's more for information to help people. I think that a lot of people nowadays are just finding that they're alone and lost, and you're not alone. Great people are finding it difficult. It's November now. Times you have 8 more weeks till 2026. We're gonna blink. It's gonna be a new year. So I think as you get older, time goes faster. So it's one of those things. But anyway, I gonna do my swim therapy later on, which is very, very helpful for overall wellness and mobility. And so what I thought I might do is just update you, or at least share some more of my progression. More information was submitted, and get the general information out there. As I said, just to get a basis in moving forward. I found that sharing information is probably best. And that's what it is. It's the truth, and it's just general information. It's information about my journey. And not to burden other people, but for information only, really. Anyway, what happened in '05 was in the spring. My case closed. I struggle with a schedule and going through all that with my previous video. It's about an hour long. It may have been posted, it may not have. If it wasn't, well then maybe I can just chop it up and redo it. But it started in '05 and it closed in '05 in Judge Mutter's courtroom. And that case was closed and essentially was put back in the archives in Rhode Island. Right after that, when my mother died, my ex went behind the scenes without my knowledge. I was up in Boston. My mother died that day. He backdoored. He went to Rhode Island, Providence, family and probate, snuck in the back door that way, and decided to either have his attorney stand there, or both of them were there. I don't know the details, whether he just had his attorney do it, or he himself was there. But what was done shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen. I'm sure if my case was never heard in Judge Jeremiah's courtroom, I don't think it would have washed. I don't think it would have passed. I don't think anything would have come to such a head at such a point. But was my ex or his attorney put an appointment in and stood in front of Judge B. She was Chief Justice at the time. I never met the woman. I never stood in front of her courtroom. I never sat or had an appointment in her court. I went through all the other judges going down that fifth floor, Durham Street. We went all the way down to the end of Judge Mutter's court, and that's where it ended. And trust me, I have all the paperwork. And it was insane, and it shouldn't have happened. Evidently, now, my ex had an agenda, and he wanted to get what he wanted, so he paid for it, and he got what he wanted. But my question was, what's the point? What was the point of filing and going to court and having your attorney stand there, or you and your attorney stand there, and literally get custody in Rhode Island, that a case that was closed in Rhode Island permanently, to get custody? Meanwhile, no money was garnished from me. No money was garnished from him. So we had joint custody from '01 all the way up until that point. He rushed to that court, probably knowing that I was going to take him in '05, '06, and '07 to Massachusetts. We both were living at that time in Massachusetts. That's the only connection to Massachusetts that we had. There was nothing filed. The first filing was from me. Now, why did he go to Rhode Island? My question is at the time, behind my back, without notice to me, I was in Boston. My mother died that day. And to get custody. Why? Nothing was being done in either one of our directions, and nothing was going to get called on it. I'll explain that in a minute. So he stood. What should have happened with Judge B? She should have looked and done right by it. And personally, she should have taken it and said, Attorney so-and-so, I understand your plight. What's the rush? Is there any criminality? Is there any abuse? Is there any urgency to have your client, or look at Mr. Edwards and say, Mr. Edwards, is there an urgency to get sole custody of a little girl that you're both going to live in Massachusetts? You're done with Rhode Island. Or she wasn't even aware that probably our case was closed in Rhode Island. It was a very slim timeline. And my question is that why? Okay? What's the urgency? What's your point? All right, up till then. He never went for sole custody. The whole 4 years, beginning of '02, coming out of '01, going in through all the times we ever went to court, never went for sole custody of my daughter. He never brought it up. I with parental alienation, I was moving in that direction of moving. But it closed in Rhode Island, so I was like, okay, we're going to go for visitation. If parental alienation in Massachusetts was going to be apparent and he's going to go down that road, then we were going to go for sole custody. But in the meantime, in '05, my son was living with me full time, and I was a single mom. Okay, point that being taken. Judge B should have looked at him and said, Attorney so-and-so, Mr. Edwards, if he was present, what's the urgency of getting sole custody? And to make such a monumental change in from joint to having given you joint custody of a child that's never stepped in this courtroom, nor hear from her, let alone, why isn't the mother here? And of course, they're going to throw up the shoulder. I don't know. She's probably drinking somewhere. She's probably drugging. She's a slut. She's a whore. I mean, God knows what they threw out there. Slandered, defamated my character, said what they had to say, and all of the above. For an urgency to get sole custody of a little girl in Rhode Island that the case was closed. What's the point? And it wouldn't have made any difference anyway. Because if, say, for instance, he was to get sole custody and we had continued our case in Rhode Island, the statute of Rhode Island says neither parent pays during joint custody. You may have it on paper, but nothing's collected. Nothing's called upon. That was part of the divorce. Nothing's going to be called upon. You just have joint custody. That's fine. Wonderful. But even if one parent has sole custody, the parent that makes more money pays the other parent. He was making 6 figures. I was deadpan broke. What's your point? What? To gain what? So you could say it? Oh, she had sole custody. She lost custody. Right, by default. It was a wimp. It was lame at best. But anyway, went behind the scenes, got that, and then must have been told that he needed something like that for the state of Massachusetts. But it didn't make a difference. It doesn't make a deadpan difference in Massachusetts. Because Judge B should have looked at him and said, I'm going to continue this, Mr. Edwards, attorney so-and-so. I'm going to continue this. We're going to subpoena the mother, have her come in and find out why she wasn't here that day. And then we're going to get to the bottom of it. Then I'm going to make a concrete decision, not an impulse decision. There's no urgency here. There's no criminality involved. We're going to make a sole condition. Because back going into 2005, the guardian ad litem, PG, stated on record that basically the last day in court, he said, there's no reason why there's supervised visits. There's no reason why there's any stipulations that they can't have a visitation schedule established. Dr. H said, I have no reason to be involved in this because there's no reason to be involved in this, if that makes any sense. Everything was a clear cut. It was, on his part, it was a lose-lose. It was redundant. So I'm saying to myself, why didn't Judge B say to him, I'm going to continue this, and we're going to have the mother back here, and then we're going to find out why, and then we're going to find out why you want sole custody. And is there any basis of any type of proof that you are allowed to get and be granted sole custody? And I would have stood there and fought for sole custody myself. I would have said, I object, I appeal, and he wouldn't have won jack squat. Because I would have fought. I would have been there, and he wouldn't have got away with it. He got away with it because I wasn't there. Anyway, make a long story short, here we are. Okay, we are at 13 minutes. Okay. Anyway, that's going into Massachusetts. I then started proceedings in Massachusetts in 2005 to subpoena him to court to do further action and start up a case, because I spoke with the Department of Revenue and they said to me, Ms. Edwards, if you need child support from him and you need a visitation schedule or you need anything from court, you have to take him to court and initiate court proceedings and get a judgment against him and granted. Then you can pass the paper to me and we'll get you your money. We'll calculate it. He never initiated any court proceedings starting in Massachusetts because he would have lost. That's why. Okay? Whether you have, and we would have started ground zero with a custody case again, and I would have fought him tooth and nail, And we still to this day have joint custody according to the state of Massachusetts. And then the statute of Massachusetts says if one parent has sole custody of a child, even though reciprocity from Rhode Island to Mass doesn't exist. Massachusetts doesn't recognize Rhode Island's laws or Rhode Island's passing of whatever. So we would have started ground zero in Massachusetts. So even Massachusetts states sole custody by the parent. The parent that has custody, if they make more money, they still pay the other parent. So he still would have lost. So basically, I'm thinking he's not that stupid to go up against and fight Massachusetts, because Massachusetts doesn't deal with it the same way as Rhode Island. What you got away with in Rhode Island doesn't stand in Massachusetts, okay, in the Commonwealth. So, that being said, we're at 15 minutes. I'll continue.